We are taking off for Epidaurus. When we tour this auspicious site, we come with a special guide who leads us through the secret healing modalities that the ancient Greeks used. Annie is not only a certified monuments guide here in Greece, but she has also developed the metamorphosis healing method. This place is near and dear to her heart.
Many who have heard of Epidaurus know of the ancient theatre here dating from the 4th century BC. But even before the theatre was built, this was already the site of an Asclepieion, a sanctuary to the god of healing Asclepius. This god was pictured with a staff and snake twined around it. This is still used today in the medical field. As a matter of fact, many hospitals, the American Medical Association, even the World Health Organization have this as part of their logos. Many people from all over the ancient world came to Epidaurus to find a cure, some traveling weeks to get here. Here you can see Patricia entering the propylon, once a massive and beautiful entrance gate, and passing by the well where weary travelers cleansed themselves before entering. In this enormous healing center, there was a temple to Asclepius where the sick would petition the god to help with a cure. There was also a large hotel to house the many visitors, a stadium for sports, and a chamber for hands-on healing and hypnosis. The final quest for all health seekers was a trip to the Tholos. This large rotunda, beautifully adorned with columns, had a secret underground maze. Patients would be led here and released to go through it alone. Forced to go deep inside themselves as they made their way through the maze, they would find the key to their own healing from within.
Later in the day, we arrive in Nafplio to check into our hotel, the Ippoliti. It is a hotel we've been using for our trips for years because it meets all the criteria. Central but quiet, a few steps from where all the action is so that you can simply walk out of the hotel and be right in it. This one also happens to be right next to the seaside walkway, filled with great coffee shops and restaurants that overlook the Bay of Argos and Burtsi Castle in the distance. Topped off with a staff that is great, it checks all the boxes on our list. Afterwards, we're ready to climb the 999 steps to Nafplio and the fortress looming over the town. Used by the Venetians and a series of invaders, it was also seized by the Greeks during the War of Independence. It's now a serene spot where you can see a 180-degree view of the sea and the quaint historical town of Nafplio. We are making a Greek salad today. There are two simple secrets to a Greek salad. One is that Greek salad never contains lettuce, and the other secret is to use tomatoes that are ripe as possible. This salad will contain enough for 2 people. Our ingredients list: 2 tomatoes, 1 cucumber, 1 red onion, 1 green pepper, 10 Kalamata olives, a slice of feta cheese, salt and pepper to taste, and of course, olive oil. Cut your tomatoes down the center after removing the core. Slice each half into quarters. Slice your pepper in half and then slice it into thin sections. Take your cleaned red onion and slice it as thin as you can. The fun part is plating your salad, and here you can get creative. Use a large bowl or a decorative plate, and use the color from the vegetables to make it look amazing. Take your feta and cube it and put it on top. Salt and pepper to taste. And take your oregano and crush it. Be generous with your oregano. Add olive oil, the best you can buy. Grill some pita bread, or sometimes you can find naan bread that is nice and thick as this, and serve it with it. The olive oil works with the vegetables to make a sauce at the bottom of the bowl. Here in Greece, we dip our bread in this sauce to our delight. Here's to your delight also. Mycenae is perhaps best known in mythology as the city of Agamemnon, the son of Atreus. King Agamemnon led the expedition against Troy during the Trojan War, which Homer accounted in his epic poem, the Iliad. The explorer Heinrich Schliemann, in his effort to prove that the Homeric poems were true, excavated here and thought he found the mask of Agamemnon. It was actually an earlier king, but he still proved that indeed Mycenae was rich in gold and so many other things. Our first stop as we enter the grounds is a trip to the beehive tombs. Massive stones line the entrance. There are currently 5 uncovered tombs, and as you look out at the countryside surrounding the excavated site, you imagine how many other treasures lie buried there. The Lion's Gate was one of the few parts of Mycenae that did not need to be excavated. Dating from 1200 BC, it's considered, along with the findings at Acropolis on the islands of Santorini, which we will see together, as prehistoric, meaning before known written history. As you climb up to the Lion's Gate and enter the citadel, you get a close look at these massive stones, what Pausanias and the ancient Greeks called Cyclopean walls. They created a myth that gigantic one-eyed monsters were responsible for putting up these massive walls. Who were the people that put them up? We really don't know. But every time I see them, I'm fascinated about the imagination and the strength of the people who built them. Afterwards, we take off for ancient Nemea. Along with the Greek effort of antiquities, the University of California, Berkeley has been digging here for years. Nemea was well known for its temple to Zeus, and every year when we come back here, there are more and more columns in place. Kudos to the Greeks for letting us still climb over these glorious monuments. While picking walnuts nearby, we met Sylvia and Peter, an Austrian and German couple who are documentary filmmakers well into their 7th week roving around Greece. We invited them to come up with us to the stadium of Nemea, just right up the road. It's a great thrill moving through the stadium tunnel and out into the stadium. If you think about how we still have that image of athletes, for example, soccer and football players, coming through tunnels into massive stadiums, you realize where it all started. The Nemean Games took place here every 4 years, were just like the games in other parts of Greece. A trip to Nemea would not be complete if we did not stop for a tour of our favorite family-run winery, Palivos. George Palivos started this winery in 1995 as a way to honor the long tradition of grape growing in the region. His daughter, Evangelia, is a certified enologist, completing her studies in Athens in France. They are a proud, welcoming family, and we always enjoy our visit here. Here is Yorgos and his daughter, Evangelia, telling us about the family's vineyard.
Γεια σας, σας καλωσορίζουμε στην Nemea. Ήθελα να πω ότι μετά από 4 γενιές αμπελουργών, έτσι λοιπόν δημιουργείται στην οικογένεια ένα χρέος. Αυτό του να συνεχίζεται η παράδοση στα αμπέλια και στη γη. Αυτό συνέχισα και εγώ, αυτό θα συνεχίσει και η κόρη μου.
welcome to Nemea, welcome to Ancient Nemea. My name is Evangelia Palivou. I am an enologist at Palivou Estate at the winery. You are in the biggest vineyard zone in Greece and in Balkans, in the valley of Nemea. Here we cultivate 6,000 hectares of vineyards, and the 3,000 hectares they are planted with Agorgitico, our local variety, who took the name from the region of Nemea because a lot of years ago, the name of this region was St. George. So we speak for a red grape variety that we call polydynamic because we can make all the kinds of wines that we want to have, means rosé, reds, sweet, semi-sweet, sparkling, semi-sparkling, fresh or aged wines. The interest at this region is the different microclimates that we have because of our different altitudes. At this region, the altitudes start from 200 meters to 800 meters, and we have also 3 big rivers that they pass from the region. So we speak for a lot of different microclimates that we can plant different vines.
One of the things that the family invest in is not only the hard work that is needed to cultivate the grapes, but also tech. They have a weather station set up so that any time of the day or night that they need to know what is going on in the field, they are synced up by phone to their weather station. Our tasting today could not be any better, as both daughters, Evangelia and Vasiliki, dip into one of the simmering barrels for us to taste. The winemaker, of course, always tastes first to ensure that all is going as it should. Of course, marvelous. And as we say in Greece, steniasas, to your health. We leave the Peloponnese today on our way to our island adventure. But before we leave, we take a quick trip to ancient Corinth and Acrocorinth. On a clear day on Acrocorinth, you can see the entire Gulf and the mountains that hold the refuge of Delphi in the far distance. The rock walls defending this fort run for at least 2 kilometers on the top of the ridge. It's a lot of fun to take the time to see them up close. I love the approach to most of the monuments here in Greece. You'll be traveling down a small village road and voila, it opens up to a stunning sight. In other areas of the world, you'd have a billboard after sign after billboard that might say 10 miles to ancient Corinth. Here, any approach is much more low-key. As we arrive, we meet a group of cyclists that are doing a round trip here from Athens. It's a little over 100 miles round trip, but they make it look easy and are in high spirits. In the back of them is the temple to Apollo, built in the Doric style. Corinth was one of the city-states that rivaled Athens and Sparta, and the ruins here are massive indeed. Apostle Paul preached here and tried to convert the wicked Corinthians. He didn't have much success. We return back to Athens by our private coach and head for the airport for our flight to Paros, a beautiful whitewashed island in the heart of the Cycladic island chain. When we arrive, we hit the back streets and are immediately absorbed by the bougainvillea of Paros. So many colors, so many sizes. and some of them, their trunks are the size of a tree. They love to climb up the balconies into the bright sunlight. Tomorrow we'll have our tour of the back streets of Naousa. It's one of our favorite ways to experience any place on our tours. Bright and early, just as the sun is coming up. Meanwhile, the small port of Naousa is famous for its tavernas. One of the specialties in Naousa is seafood. We have a secret recipe for seafood pasta. This recipe was shared with me years ago by my friend Georgia. Here it is for you to make at home. Your ingredients: any type of seafood you desire. Here we use calamari, octopus, and large prawns. You can easily use frozen seafood. You are going to need 4 to 5 ripe tomatoes, 5 small white or red onions, peeled and whole, 7 cloves of garlic, peeled again and whole, 4 to 5 bay leaves. They should be dried, but make sure they're not too old. Get some new bay leaves if they're over 1 year old. Check your label. Core your tomatoes and cut them in half. Grate them on a grater. This is a fresh tomato sauce, but if you have your own canned or know of a good source, you can use that. You should have at least 3 cups of the tomato. It's a good idea to saute your calamari and octopus separately because they take the longest to get tender. Then in a separate pot, add your fresh tomato, and then add your onions and garlic, being sure to keep them whole, as this is the secret to this recipe. I really do not know the chemistry behind it, but not chopping the onions and the garlic up, to my mind, leaves all the good into the sauce, but leaves any harsh characteristics behind. Add your whole bay leaves and simmer for at least 30 minutes, covered. Occasionally uncover and stir. At 30 minutes, add your calamari and octopus, cover again, and cook until the calamari and octopus are tender. Towards the end of the cooking, you should add 3 to 4 tablespoons of good quality tomato paste. You can leave the lid off if your sauce is not yet thickened up. Boil your water and add your pasta. Here we are using our favorite non-gluten pasta. We love it. As soon as your sauce is ready and all your other ingredients are tender, add your shrimp. We like to leave the shells on. We think it adds a lot of flavor, but it also helps to slow us down as we're eating the pasta. If we have to take the time to remove them, it allows us to take a breath and sit back and have a sip of wine. But you can remove the shells before cooking if you like. The shrimp needs 5 to 8 minutes simmering in the sauce, depending upon how big they are. And it's very simple to plate it and put as much sauce on as you'd like. A little, or a lot in this case. Whoa there, Patricia. I guess I really do like a lot of sauce, especially this sauce. Put your garlic and whole onions on, and sprinkle on your favorite hard cheese or use feta as we're doing here. Keep in mind the base of this sauce is also great for any other type of seafood you want to use, or especially meat. This secret sauce is so versatile. We hope you enjoy it as much as we do.